I'm actually looking at Mentapeace. I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is a word that I've put together, and I'm looking at drama from an angle where we say a therapeutic approach using the arts as a means of helping persons to recover or to survive or to come back or to rehabilitate or to deal with the trauma in their life in Grenada. And I'm saying Grenada because that's where I am based. And many of the persons here in Grenada do not have any alternative means, right? And I've decided to create this program because of a few reasons. But before I talk, I want you to listen.
Hey, you better stop what you're doing and look at this clip right now, because this clip will do something to you.
If we don't have standards in certain things in life, we would always leeway by the wayside. Everything will just go with us. And there are a lot of morals being taught in theater.
It's not until you come in that person's shoes and you actually, study their life, you realize that, this is the reason why this person react this way.
Without me telling him anything into details, he knew that something wasn't right with me at the time.
It was also helping us on finding ways to make us be not victims to our own issues in life.
I was bullied a lot in Happy Secondary School and Westall because I said people who knew me would go and tell people things about me, and they always pinpoint a finger at me.
We even got history lessons. Mind you, we learned a lot in theater.
I was exposed to a lot of training in terms of mental health.
He get me to express myself, say what it is.
It's also a coping mechanism.
And then move me from point A to point B to the point where this person now is not the same person before.
When I hit the stage, I release everything.
I did choose theater arts, and one time I was in class and there was a boy who was harassing me, and in that particular time my teacher was there, Roger Williams, and he told me to open my mouth because he saw that I wanted to say something.
And that is where the stepping stone always begins. You need to know who you are first in life and where you stand in life in order to achieve true confidence.
And I couldn't say it, but he told me to open my mouth and say how I feel. Well, exactly this is what I do, and I just let it off my chest.
So that gave me exposure, to certain decisions that I would make in life. I have to be very careful and mindful who I make my company.
The creative arts, that really changed my life, because if it wasn't for that, honestly, I didn't see myself doing any good in life.
I am stronger now. I can stand up for myself, most importantly. I love the strength that I have. And it's not really a physical strength,
And during that time, during the training, during the late nights, during a lot of hard work and challenges, I started developing myself.
It's a mental strength. A lot of people won't understand it. But trust me, when you know you are weak and you're now able to stand up for yourself, you feel good. You feel good.
I started having a voice. I started socializing. I started to understand things and accept it and learn to move on.
Instead of lashing out, you get to show love. So it helps you to understand other people, their behavior, why they behave the way they do. And it also helps you to deal with them and cope with them.
Because I was being challenged by teachers and doubting me for taking part doing this subject. They would be telling me that there's no way I can see this could benefit me outside there. Some telling me, where they ain't no big production studio here, what I'm doing, And it was very, I would say, bad. For me, at the time, it was very hard because it was conflicting me. It was conflict. And it was very hard to get that balance I was looking for.
Hi guys, my name is Roger Williams, and
Thank you. That was Roger Williams. And that is what I do, and that is what brought us here now to...
I joined Krupa, you could say, about 2 years back. And basically it helps. It helps a lot. Before I joined, or before I started doing theater, I used to fight a lot. That was just me. I used to fight a lot. At this stage of life, I kind of realized that the past and how I used to live before, it didn't really used to make any sense and so on. So at this point, theater kind of helped me to grow, to become a better person then, to be more calm to people or be more nice to people, you know, to interact more with people. Yeah, so that's how it helped me to organize the violent part of me.
Great, and that is why I designed Mentapeace. I had to create Mentapeace because there was no one helping. There was no one helping, as you can see. And so I took a therapeutic approach to use the arts as a means of getting these persons to develop self-esteem. And but added to that, I've combined my business skills with the performing arts to create a program that would help persons. So when you're helping these persons, we're actually looking at, okay, before they knew the traditional way of counseling, you go, you sit down and you listen, you tell your story, and then you leave really upset sometimes, angry, and some of them, as I would quote them in the words, not satisfied. And so these persons actually came to me, right? They came to me and asked, how can you help me? Some of them were referred by other persons. And when I assessed it, I realized that their issue with depression and all these other challenges, a lot of them were promiscuous, you know, drugs, alcohol, violent, as you heard them say, angry. And then I realized we have a case here of mental illness that we had to treat. And when we treat it, we notice that the talk alone from the counselor or the advisor doesn't really work. So I engaged the arts, having experienced it myself as a student and lecturing. I realized that it's extremely powerful. But I combined it with a SWOT analysis. So each time we use a SWOT with the I would call them my clients or the victims, because they were all victims of abuse, gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, and they were suffering. And when you see them on social media crying out, and a lot of them posted stuff, we say, no, we have to find some way to solve that problem. And I combined this. So while we're walking along, they were able to assess their strengths and weaknesses and the opportunities and the threats as one goes into the other and find a new path to life. And then I also use the Johari window model so that you can observe self. They were able to look at themselves and say, well, am I too weak here? Am I giving in too much here? Am I sharing too much here? Is the perpetrator knowing too much about me? Is that part of the reason why they're treating me like that? Abuse, licks, beat me up, all of that. And that guided the whole process as we engage in performance. And I say, I use drama, and I call it process drama because it is really explorative. When you go and you delve into it, you realize that it's for the purpose of the participants, the actors, the victims, as you may call them, so they would find meaning for themselves. And then you know that the drama therapy, which goes into the psychosocial, the psychological aspect of it, and delve deeper into that aspect of the psychology. So we are combining these elements of process drama, and I turned it into process drama therapy. For me, I take it up another level. So I didn't feel like it was just drama therapy. I felt like process drama, because in process drama, you do more exploration. So when I combine the process drama with the drama therapy and the Johari window model, along with the SWOT analysis, I created what you call the Mentapeace. And that Mentapeace was really, you know, to help these persons deal with the gender-based violence and the mental abuse and the challenges that they were facing in life. The results we would find out, we would see the magic that happens, you know? But we have to understand the current situation here in Grenada, my country, what was happening. Now we have gender-based violence is a serious problem here in Grenada, but it is not really dealt with. We also had the UN who came in and said, okay, the Spotlight Initiative, we're going to fund because we realize how severe and serious that matter is. So then they have the NGOs and governments say we are fighting violence against women. And then we're going to see how we can make things better for the ladies. But you know what was happening? It was basically just laws and policies. And as an advocate there, I'm sitting and saying, but no, the arts is too powerful for me. And then I decided now I would use these skills to help these persons. I've tested it, and I realized that there's no other person doing it. There's no way they can go anywhere. All you get is sit-down counseling one-on-one, and it's not really gaining any big momentum. But when these persons came to my school, my program, we realized that they came for something else. A lot of persons who joined the school came for something else. They wanted a form of therapy and healing. And then it connected me back to the situation in Grenada where we have 30% of emotional abuse out of the gender-based violence situation. And 27% of women I'm talking about who experience that. And most of them who came to me were women. I had to find a solution because there's no program. I had to find a solution. So I developed it and I called it Mentapeace because I was coming up with a therapeutic action plan to help these persons. Why? And I felt that out of this, my whole approach would show that, look here, Mentapeace model, which I call it out of peace and mental health. So I say mental and health, mental and peace. I say, okay, let's call it Mentapeace. And that would help these persons or these victims to come out of their trauma. But I connected it back to this lady. I don't know if you've ever seen her before, but I think she's Lebanese, Zenaida Dakache, and I saw her work on YouTube. And that passion she had when she went into the prison and said, man, I have that same drive too. I'm going to use the magic here. Although she struggled to get acceptance, I am doing the same thing now because I'm not getting that level of acceptance, but the outside persons who are not within the government institution or organizations are coming to me and getting serious results quick, within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, sometimes years, 2 years. And that is where Mentapeace came from. So I worked with these persons here who first tested it, tried it, and explored it. And you see, they're smiling now. But when they came to me, the faces were sad, hard, vexed, upset, angry. You couldn't speak to them because they would just bust out. But now they're smiling. But the result out of this, after working them and training not just the mind, but the physical energy that we embrace and explore, out of that, we got them an opportunity. Look at the age. They were saying, oh, that can be, it's not possible. I had to send them further to get to do the exam, the external exam, CXC examination when they were leaving secondary school. But this child was in Form 3, these two, 13 and 14. But because of that experience, living in a home with so much turmoil, abuse, verbal, physical, sexual, and they were highly suicidal, which I'll speak about, they were able to join the program and find early enough, even in Form 3, to have a subject that they can live with. Here we have another case again. All these persons who came to the program, we didn't just leave them there, we took them to another level. After we deal with the mental illness or the mental health challenge, we gave them an additional reward where they could do CXC or CSEC theater arts and get a certificate recognized internationally in the Caribbean as well. They feel accomplished. That was their words. There you have these two ladies, just the same, going through the process. But they were not, these persons, I must say to you, they've all gone to counselors. And when it failed, they've chosen the last result, which is the option of suicide. That's the last option. And then when I saw some of them walking heavy, head down, I went up to them and I said, I could help you. Oh, you could help me. Of course, I could help you with this program. When they came to the program, as you heard them, transformation took place, right? Why? How I did it. I used action research because I wanted to pull out from them. I didn't want to just sit down and get the person's statistics. I wanted to see it, experience it, feel it. And then I put these ideas together and these concepts together. And I say, okay, if I mix approach, I will get questions, observations, journals, use all of these to ensure that I gather the information, because I'm not joking with this. I want to present it to show that it really works here in Grenada. And that is what we did. And these are all the tools, the instruments that I use to ensure that I documented it thoroughly. For over an entire year, I was working with these persons, some of them who just felt that the last result would be drama, I'm going to give it the last shot. And I got all the permission that we need, so I followed all the correct and right channels with the letters and so on. But this here is what we want to focus on. This is where Mentapeace, the model that we designed, that they could work with even on their own. And I call it Mentapeace. But Mentapeace now, we are over 3 phases that I discovered most of the persons who were battling with that mental illness were going through these things. They were not acknowledging what was happening to them. They were not accepting it. And some of them were not taking action. And that posed a big challenge. So even when they started at acknowledging what happened and they reached here, they couldn't get out of that area. They couldn't get to that point. When they reached the point of accepting, they went right back down to acknowledge, and it became a cycle, a circle, round and round they were going. But there is it. The model now says, here we are. We have the 3 steps, but watch what happens when you wrap the program. They end up in denial. Some of them remain in denial. And inaction, inactivity, inertness, they don't take any action. Knowing already their situation, they refuse to take action. And then it goes wrong in that cycle. But watch, some of them become extremely powerful. And we have overaction, which makes their situation even worse. Now, that is the Mentapeace model that I've designed after working over this long period of time. I've tested it for a number of years. This year would make it about 6 years since I'm working this to prove that it actually has an effect. And this is just a breakdown of the stages that you go through. So although you have the 3 steps, each step has a number of levels that each person has to go through and critically assess it. And as we go along, they were feeling and expressing and reflecting and recognizing, and you had to repeat and vocalize. And then when we went to accept, you had to validate, you have to treat, you have to locate, you have to focus on the issue over and over and see whether you are really facing it, being honest and accepting it. And then I took them to the act phase, which is most challenging for some of them. When it came to action time, they would go right back down to acknowledge and say, I can't make this, I can't do this. Then working, I'm afraid, I can't. And what happens, you notice the black area that everybody goes back into depression until they realize we have to take action, or some of them would have to do it all over. This eventually became my program of intervention. So all that I've just told you is that to show you how I combine the performing arts along with the business tools and business tools for development. While I combine the process drama therapy activities, and I use the SWOT analysis, I combine the Johari window, and I tie it into the Mentapeace model. And over this 48 weeks period, 3 times per week, and have them 4 hours, push them, put them under a lot of tension and pressure, and relieve some of their moments. And these persons were able to walk through. So I've tested it with a previous group, and then I said, I'm going to work with this group of mixed persons to see what really happened. So I combined victims, survivors, perpetrators in one space. And then in that collaborative effort, magic happened. I'm just showing you some of the results that we found there. So when they started, look at the level of depression before. I asked them before and after. They would have to answer this question and tell me how they're going. Even when we do the interview, they would have to do it, some of them by themselves, put them in front of the camera, and they do their own recording. So I take myself out and they do the recording. And then we give a short questionnaire, just 3 questions. How is your life now, before? How is your life after? And that's what we express. But these are the key elements of the mental illness and mental health challenges that we found: depression, suicide ideation, and low self-esteem. And look at the transformation. So out of that, we realized that the program has been very effective, moving from 100% and a serious drop down, you know, out of 90% down. And suicide ideation was common, but some of them kind of worked hard, extremely hard. And in the end, that one was very challenging. In the end, we ended up with 0% of persons thinking of ending their life. Self-confidence issue, we still have the challenge because when they go home, they have parents bashing them, boyfriend, girlfriend, and so on, spoiling the situation. So you have to come back and continue the process. So it has been a very tough journey for some of them. But that is where the Mentapeace program of intervention and model took us. And I just highlighted some issues here so that you could understand that out of the discovery and the challenges that they faced, we realized that the trauma was embedded. They were doing things just to please their parents. They were doing things to please their friends, you know, And what actually happened, we had to detensionize them. They were walking tension, no release. They couldn't relax. And that is what we had to do. So I made them dance, sing, express themselves, scream. We did poetry, monologues, role play. We even did some forum theater. And you would see in the clips I have coming up.
Let me just give you a quick reminder. This man here, my father, my uncle, my brother, something I can't stand in. You always have to give thanks to the Most High, because the Most High wants to inspire good people like them to help you to reach somewhere in life. I did not know about drama. I thought I would have never made it. I thought I would have been just one of those stupid people like them. Just one of those normal people like them, but getting to know him and getting to know me, he discovered something in me that I didn't know about. I didn't know I was an actress. I didn't know I could act. I didn't know. But thanks to him and for keeping me whole and advising me to make it and pushing me to the limit. God bless you, man. People, I don't know my face. I know others get me type of way, but this drama is for you. Drama is for me. If I could do it, all of us would do it. And go to this man. Go to this man.
We have this.
And that is a program we have designed to help persons. And then the final part of it shows here that they did a final performance with an audience come in, put on a show, they enjoy the show, open up to the public, sell tickets, the benefits on stage. They did television interviews, building and boosting the confidence. And these are some of the moments in rehearsal, training sessions, put them through the roughest moments so that they can relieve some moments and cleanse. And this even out in the pasture, the spaces that we use so that they can express themselves. The training, even holding on, fighting the moments. And there we are as we change location, giving them, they now want to face the camera, proud, brave, bold enough, deciding that nothing and no one could destroy them. No matter what the challenge, they can now stand up and face it. We use all the theater strategies and activities that you can see. I even brought them to the streets where they do some flash mobs, performances to boost their confidence. We have an audience following. And this is the final performance here, which is our biggest success story, where she stood up. And this is our closing ceremony, thanking the audience. Our future, this is the future of the Mentapeace model. We are now saving lives, helping persons. This is my closing
it
statement.
helps you to understand not only about what the theater industry itself is, but also helps you out in society, also to cope with challenges and difficulties, and also even social issues, and even within the environment and even workplaces. So those training sessions worked out very well.
Thank you. This is where I end, to pause to say that Mentapeace, Drama for Peace, used to be, but we call it Mentapeace, so we change minds and body. We heal persons who are suffering from mental illness with a different approach, supporting through the arts. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear Christopher. So we end up the sessions of contributions with very diverse approaches and perspectives about the role of art in society, and